How you doing, guys? Welcome back to the Poise Showcase series, and today I'm going to take another look at one of my more recent favorites, the Zweihander paired with the Man Serpent Hatchet. Just a lot better optimized in my opinion. Now on top of that, I did get the opportunity to test this beast out with the Discord boys the other day, so shout out to the Discord boys for some solid fights that you'll get to see later in this video. Otherwise, let's go straight into the status page here, guys. I am at soul level 125 using the Prisoner's Chain as usual. And you'll see that this time I opted for very high vigor. We're at 50 vigor here, guys, so we've got a very large effective HP pool for those trades. And I thought I would test this without Tears of Denial. Being that I did try this in a little bit more of a competitive environment against the Discord boys, and as you know, it's quite easy for you to get punished in that environment for casting Tears at the beginning of a match. So I thought I would try this with very high HP instead, and it's actually worked quite well. Otherwise, you can use this particular build with Tears of Denial if you want to, so just reduce that vigor to about 44, get 14 attunement and an extra point in vitality so you can carry that Filianor Chime, and you'll also might have, I think, a couple of more points there to put in strength if you want to for a little bit more AR. Now we did get invaded here, guys, so let's go take care of this invader. Catnip. But otherwise, in terms of weapons here, guys, obviously I am maining the Zweihander, Dark Zweihander plus 10 with the Dark Man Serpent Hatchet plus 10. And I also have a heavy crossbow for utility here with exploding bolts and splintering bolts, and also a Blessed Kestis here as a parrying tool, and also to stack with the Sun Princess ring to get a bit of HP regen. So when you have those two stacked together, you're getting about 5 to 6 HP per tick. Now where's this guy hiding? Anyways, back over to the equipment page here, guys. My ring setup is the same as always, so Havel's plus 3, Prisoner's Chain, Sun Princess instead of the Chloranthe, and the Ring of Favor plus 3. So I am running 37 endurance, and that's quite high for this particular build, so it does give you a lot of options for being defensive and also quite aggressive. And using the Green Blossom, I really didn't feel like I needed that Chloranthe, that's why I have the Sun Princess there instead. And some passive HP regen is always nice. Now in terms of armor, I've got the Black Iron Helm, the Gundier's armor, the Black Iron Gauntlets, and the Black Iron Leggings here. So we've got some pretty good absorption values against slash damage and dark damage, so that's your curved swords and dark builds. And we are running with 42.32 poise. So I'm not particularly hitting any targets specifically, but I do want enough poise here to tank every attack from fast weapon classes using the Zweihander, which is nice. And on top of that, we can also tank those hammers and great swords, and we also have the ability to tank other ultra greats as well, as you'll see later in this video. Alright, what's going on, lad? Let's go for a HUDless experience here, guys. Alright guys, so let's talk a little bit about this build here before I jump into a fight. This is with the Discord boys, so shout out again to all the boys here for some stellar fights. But otherwise, the Man Serpent Hatchet actually has some pretty decent roll catch potential there in your left hand. It is the longest hand axe, I'm pretty sure, so there is that, and a lot of people do not expect that range, especially from your left hand. And when you combine that with the Zweihander, if your opponent is actually panic rolling backwards, taking a step forward and swinging with that Zweihander will usually mean that you get to roll catch them there as well. So there is some pretty decent roll catch potential with the Man Serpent Hatchet in conjunction with the Zweihander, and you will see me take advantage of that a couple of times here in this particular video. Now on top of that, they are dark infused, so you are getting that chip damage against Black Knight's shield, which is always handy. And on top of that, you're getting some pretty decent AR from both weapons, especially the Hatchet. I'm pretty sure it's getting over 500 AR one-handed there with these particular stats, so it does hit quite hard. And on top of that, the Man Serpent Hatchet actually acts as a very good bait for your Zweihander in getting your swings in. So basically you have something there with a lot of range that can put some pressure on your opponents and has some decent roll catch potential. And on top of that, it is pretty good for baiting your opponent, so I do advise that you actually start practicing to use that Man Serpent Hatchet into the Zweihander for some good baits. Now I will say you do really have to get used to the hyper armor timings with the Zweihander. It's a lot slower than using something like the mace or a greatsword, for example, which I do think is still more competitive obviously than using an ultra in this particular setting. So you really have to get used to the hyper armor timings of the Zweihander so you don't get caught outside of those active frames. But again, you do have that Man-Serpent Hatchet there as a buffer to be able to lure your opponent into that Zweihander a little bit more easy. Good game. Now this clip's a little bit older here guys, but I thought I would show it off here just to show you what crossbow utility looks like at harassing your opponent at the end of a match, which is quite good. So I do always recommend carrying crossbows with these heavier builds, or with any build really. They're actually very good utility guys. Good game. Alright guys, so I did mention at the start of the video that you can use this build with tiers if you want. So here's a fight with a tiers version of this build. Now I've included both versions of the build on Mugen links in the description below, so have a look at which one actually suits you a little bit better. I do actually prefer the version without tiers, to be honest though, but that's just me. Oh. I mean, look at that roll catch potential there, guys. If the stars align like that and your opponent is panic rolling behind, roll catch potential on this build is crazy. Good game. Alright guys, so one last thing I want to talk about here with this particular build. I already said you have to get used to the slower hyper armor activation of the Zweihander in comparison to, like, say, a mace or a greatsword, so you really have to get used to that in order to bait effectively. But on top of that, a real weakness of this build is dealing with stuff like quick-step daggers. Now, because of the slow swing speed of both the Man-Serpent Hatchet and the Zweihander, it's quite difficult to fight a good quick-step user, so I do recommend that you guys carry a pocket dark longsword to hard swap to, and switch to your crossbow and longsword to be able to fight that setup a little bit more effectively than you would using the Zweihander. But other than that guys, I hope you enjoyed the rest of the video and the fights within. This one was a lot of fun. Good game. Alright guys, let's go for one last match here today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This build was a lot of fun to revisit. In all honesty, it's one of my favorites with my mace build as well. So it was a lot of fun revisiting this build on a more optimized setup in my opinion. So if you do enjoy this video, hit that like button. If you're enjoying my content, please subscribe. And as always guys, thank you for watching. Until next time.